Hey beautiful people, my name is Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel for a used bookstore haul. I got the opportunity to go to Austin, Texas for my continuing education and went to not one but two half-price books. And if in my thumbnail where I'm holding up the stack, that's like half of them. So I did rather well and I want to share them with you. And one of the things I really want to know is if you've read any of these and you think that they're not worth reading, that's really what I want to know, because there's so many good books out there. I mean, you go to a huge used bookstore or any bookstore, and sometimes it's just kind of overwhelming by how many books there are to read and so many great adventures to go on, right? So let me tell you what I found. I found Maggie Shipstead's The Great Circle. So this was the winner, I think, of the Booker Prize. Oh, it was a Booker Prize finalist. I don't think it was the winner, but it made it in the very top tiers. And so I kind of, was on the fence about reading it when it came out, but definitely now that it's at, the half price store in paperback, it's time to pick it up and give it a go. So I have that. I really, really enjoy Orhan Pamuk. He writes beautifully and tells such a rich story. Most of his writing is nonfiction. I have heard great things about My Name is Red. I'm not actually sure exactly what it is about. There's kind of this ancient Oriental kind of feel on here. So I'm thinking it has to do with that period of history, maybe in over in China. I don't know. I do know that everything I've read by him has been really, really good. And so really, most of these books were books that I bought because I enjoy the author, but I'm not as familiar with that particular book. This one, I went back and forth on reading. It's a history nonfiction book on Galveston, and I live rather close to Galveston. That is where I vacationed this year for vacation. And I do know that it had a lot of turbulent history as a port of call in Texas, as the kind of main way of settling in from a lot of the trades and Europeans, and it was like a hot spot. So after back and forth, I decided, if I'm struggling, I'm thinking about it this much, I should just go ahead and buy it and give it a go, because it's probably worth at least checking out. Then Ann Tyler, I just read her Vinegar Girl in September and really, really enjoyed that. So I picked up a couple more that I saw. This is Back When We Were Grown-Ups. So this was a beautiful, I love this cover, hardback. And then I found The Accidental Tourist, and have not watched this movie either. So I think I'll read the book before I watch the movie, but I like the fact that I have that option. Then I found this one. Jess Walter wrote The Millions. So this, I have read Beautiful Ruins. So when I saw that this was the same author as Beautiful Ruins, and I really enjoyed that story, which was like a kind of a murder mystery centered around the film shoot with some high profile actors and actresses, and it was just one of those that's like really fun to read. So this one is, I think, set in the time period of, it sounds kind of Wild West, where it's like settlements and they're trying to build railroads and that kind of thing, and there's a lot of controversy about unions and trying to get fair wages and trying to basically survive in kind of a rugged system of life, really. And so I'm not sure if this is going to have a murder mystery or what kind of flavor, but I'm thinking, since I just really enjoyed that other book, that maybe that would be a fun one to be kind of a palate cleanser in between some other books that I normally read. Speaking of books I normally read, I have been reading the Dune series. I have one more that the original author wrote, and then it goes into this vast wasteland, long backlist of books by his son and Brian Hebert and this Kevin Anderson. So these two go along with my other house book that I thought was the last book. I thought House Atreus was the last wrap up of that particular story, and then I was going to stop. But then there's all these other books and I'm not sure. And then once I've bought them and I've been doing a little research, I don't think I even own the right book. I'm not sure I'm even going to read these. So my question is, if you have read these, are these worth reading, or can I stop? Can I give up now? For classics, I don't know much about these except for their author. The Red Pony by Steinbeck. I've been loving John Steinbeck, and his little books are so great because they're short, but you get to think a lot. So it doesn't take you long to have a lot to think about. And then George Orwell's This Is Cigarettes. So never even heard of this, but and I really like this kind of vintage copy. So I thought, yeah, I can get behind another Orwell. I mean, 1984 is probably in my top 10 classics of all time. I found a copy of Donna Tartt's The Secret History, so I have read The Goldfinch and really enjoyed it, and so I look forward to this. Susan at Road Reads loves this book, and I generally have similar experiences reading as she does, so I look forward to putting that one on my TBR sometime soon. I found another Liane Moriarty. I am a very big fan, although there are a couple of her books that I did not care for much, but this one has been fairly highly rated by most viewers who read it or Goodreads reviews, so I look forward to this one. I'm not exactly sure, but just from the title, The Husband's Secret, it sounds like a, marriage family drama. On audiobooks, I found Bill Clinton narrating his autobiography on my life. So I read one president book a year in November, and this one is actually slated for 2024. So this will be good. I love listening to their own voices. This just really, really just brings the humanness back to something that feels very distant, being the president of the United States. So listening to George Bush's decision points was just so moving to me, and I'm really looking forward to hearing Bill Clinton's voice and his words explaining his experience in office. So that will be next November, because this November I've got Carter. I'm doing Carter this year. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about Jimmy Carter. Then I have 3 by an author, Maggie OFerrell. Hamnet was one of my top books that I read last year, so I look forward to reading more of hers. This is I Am, The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox, and then I even found a half price of The Marriage Portrait, which I love this cover. And I know this one there's like an arranged high society royal marriage, and the sister gets murdered before, and so to keep the politics and to keep the arrangement, the next sister in line gets married, but there's obviously a lot going on. So anyway, I think this one's gonna be really good. I don't know anything about these 2 at all, but it's one of those things where you just buy for the author. This one, the Chilean poet, I saw as a new release in Barnes & Noble just on my many wanderings, and I love this cover, and I kind of read it, and it's a family drama that really centers on the young coming of age. One of them becomes a poet. They're trying to trace their roots and their family loyalties and all of this stuff, obviously set in Chile. So different country than I'm used to reading about, different family dynamics than I'm used to reading about, but I didn't want to pay full price new release. And then here it is at the half price books, and I said, okay, I'm going to give this one a go. I don't know that, I heard a lot of hype or anybody else ever talking about that book, so I don't know that it's good, but I will let you know what I think. Look at this. I found a beautiful paperback of Hester. This is the book that is kind of a retelling or secondary story to The Scarlet Letter with Hester Prynne. So heard excellent things about that one. Obviously, really looking forward to it. And then finally, on the bottom of my stack is my last one. This one's been on my wish list since it came out as a new release, and people were giving it pretty decent reviews on BookTube, The Measure. I can't remember if the premise is that you are told the day you're going to die or the length of time. I think it's you're given the length of time that you're going to live. You know how much time you have on this planet, so you have to, live with that or make decisions about that. And that's just always I love those kind of stories. So I think that will be a book that I will like. And again, didn't want to pay full price, but when these things start showing up half price books, then I'm willing to risk that kind of level of investment in whatever. But having said that, if you've read any of these and you think they're just kind of 2.5, maybe 3 star-ish, and that's it, leave me a comment, because I got too many good things I want to be about. If you've read these and you love them, please let me know that. I'm going to bump them up my TBR and get to them sooner and get even more excited about them. And if you're interested in reading any of these now, but you haven't read them, but you would appreciate me reading them and reviewing to see if you are still interested in reading them, leave me that comment too. I really appreciate the dialogue and the discussion, and just hope that you are being blessed in your reading. Love my BookTube community. Like and subscribe if you're not already. Take care, y'all. Happy reading.